millions of them there were, had to all walk across it. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're like, okay, what do you have? Use what you have, hold it up, do it, and God will make a way. And then we just have to keep stepping forward, step after step after step, as we're walking people into freedom. And while that's exciting, we also have to remember that as we're walking forward, as we're pushing forward, and remembering that even as we take these steps, even though they're uncertain and we don't necessarily know where we're going, we know it's better, and we know that it's backed by a greater power, and we know that God has our back, and there's backup upon backup and upon backup upon backup for us, and everything that we do. Essentially, nothing can stop what is coming. So it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack.
Oh, yeah. And I love many people don't even talk, but they talk about the Moses thing and then getting free thing that you mentioned. That is huge. That is key. I think there's a lot of people still stuck in that right now. They're looking for that, have that savior complex, right? And they're, there's some people that just ain't happy unless they're pissing and moaning and complaining.
It's so true. Well, and it's because it's familiarity. It's what they're comfortable with, and it's all that they know. And it's what they hear on the news. It's what they see in the TV. It's what they hear, it's what they hear from their fans. It's what they were taught from their parents. And so that's all that they know. So there's a comfort in the complaint, right? But what's different about where we're going is that not only are we transitioning into a new period, like as a country, in a very natural sense, as a collective society, but we're also moving into a new era power-wise, where there's this huge transfer of power that's happening, where we're moving from an era of force into an era of power. I don't know if that makes sense. Where now, instead of being forced to do things, now it's the empowerment of people that's advancing society and advancing the collective consciousness and advancing everything that's happening. So it's kind of like, it's crazy that we're moving through this like in a natural sense, but at the same time, there's this huge quantum leap of consciousness. And I know I can't say it without getting nerdy because I'm kind of a nerd. But there's this huge leap of consciousness that's happening at the same time, and there's this huge awakening that's happening at the same time, and it's taking all of this progression to a whole nother level. And I always like to say my weapons are in the spirit's land, right? My weapons are in the spiritual realm. Like I'm not going to come to a natural battle with natural weapons, sword versus sword. Then we're out sorted. I don't know how you say that, but when you come with the stronger power, and when you're using spiritual weapons against everything that's happening in the natural, there's nothing that they can do about it. It's like if a room is dark and I turn on a light switch, it's just light. There's no battle. Like the darkness doesn't go, no, now we have to leave. It's just gone.
Boom, I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a fantastic analogy. Hey, folks, it looks like we may have the ScrewBigGov Rumble fixed, kind of, sort of, but I'm getting a lot of messages that they still are having trouble getting on. Regardless, hello, hi, welcome to SBG News and Views. It's great to be here, or is it great to be back? I'm not quite sure. But we're having a fantastic conversation with Robert Imbriale, Bruce Poppy, Kurt and Cristin Ludlow, and we're having a lot of fun and talking about what's going on in the world now, and then we have some special information and disclosures also. So, hello there.
Should we run the intro again?
Let's just come back on, right? Yeah, start it again. Everything. Why not?
Wow, it's only been 24 minutes it took us to fix this issue.
My hair wasn't gray when we started.
Right, exactly. Oh Lord, and wow. But hey, it's up. It is what it is at this point,
But we haven't recorded from the beginning, so we haven't lost anything. And it's been on, I think Bruce's channel had gone down for a little bit, but it's been on Renegade Media the whole time, and Grassroots has been up. So, and we have a backup, so we have it no matter what.
Okay,
cool.
I know.
No,
don't say that, Bruce, and then they're gonna want to go search elsewhere for it. What are you talking about? I love your analogy, though. If you go into a dark room and you turn on a light, suddenly it's light. the dark is gone. And you're right though. Is that not what's going on right now exactly at this moment? That is exactly what's going on. So I think it's just fantastic. Hey, all right, let's go off on another tangent. There's a prominent name, but of lately. I want to first preface that, as Robert and I predicted months ago, what's going to happen is when the Epstein stuff starts coming to the forefront, you're going to have the cabal and the mainstream media try to divert the attention as if President Trump was somehow involved in this. We predicted this, and it's exactly what's happening now on every single mainstream media. They're trying to divert the attention now, but what they won't tell you, as the two so-called whistleblowers have already retracted their statements back in 2019, but they won't tell you that. So talk about the disgusting satanic liars, is they literally take a false statement from 2016 to make it a real statement in 2023, even though it was retracted in 2019. I mean, that's what we're dealing with right now. It's crazy, but I believe this Epstein thing is absolutely going to backfire on them, because guess what? Those crazy right-wing tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists were right all along. What do you guys think? Okay,
Yeah,
they're just nodding approval, guys. The show's over. We did great.
But yeah, it's really backfiring on them. And, you know, the math just isn't mathing well for them. It's just, this isn't the first time where we've seen this, where they've used pictures from other events and said, look what's happening here right now. And it's something that happened, 5 years ago in some other country. They're not very creative, and they're not very logical in what they're doing. It's literally like they're just throwing stuff and seeing who will fall for it and who will bite, kind of like fishing, because they're not accurate at all. But with what we're seeing with the Epstein and how I think they were trying to use it to hurt Trump, and it's going to become very evident that he was one of the only ones out of all of them that had zero involvement in any of it. And not only did he not have any involvement, when he had that feeling in his spirit that something's not right, he completely distanced himself from the entire thing and made sure to stay blameless from it. And so what they think is going to be a condemning thing for him is totally going to vindicate him as the actual facts come out. And the witnesses, the women and the people that it was actually happening to, saying, no, never. We've never done that. We've never seen him. He's never been here. We have nothing to do with him. And so it's really interesting how this is all unfolding in a way that is not desirable for them at all.
Not at all. In fact, we can't forget also, take it to another level, the Florida DA, actually, an investigator, actually said, quote, the only person that gave us any tangible information and tried to help us was President Trump.
Was Trump.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's their words. It's like that was the only, because everybody else was obstructing, diverting, taking the fifth, wouldn't answer any questions. But President Trump was the most helpful one that they have. And what happened is, I believe, this is just my thing, is I believe President Trump was targeted like all billionaires are targeted by Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, but he didn't give him anything because that's not his deal. In fact, I think what they probably figured out is he's kind of an infiltrator, where he would go to a party here or go here, and then he would report back to the good guys, right? The few of them that we had at the time. And so what happens is now, how do you do it? Let's take this infiltrator that's trying to take us down. Let's try to flip the narrative on him. And with Epstein's brother coming out and making some ridiculous, unsubstantiated statements, it's going to be fun. It's the golden boomerang that Trump throws out there all the time, and it smacks somebody else in the head. It's hilarious.
You talk about the golden boomerang. I just, every time I hear that boomerang thing, I picture Mad Max, that little kid that had the boomerang, that little feral type kid. And then was, somebody reach up and try to grab it, and their fingers just get chopped the F off. That's what I think about every time I think about this boomerang. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, when Epstein was at Mar-a-Lago and he was starting to do some shenanigans there, Trump said, "Get the F out." He blocked them and banned them from Mar-a-Lago.
Right.
No mas, get out of here. And so it's even been, somebody even said that we might even be able to hear from Epstein himself. I mean, was he taken off the field allegedly by the good guys or the bad guys? What's your thought there? Was the white hats take him out or the black hats to keep him quiet?
Well, I'll just say this. That is not the same guy is who Epstein is. So
I agree.
that's not proof. Oh, look at Robert's on top of, or was that Bruce that did that?
That's me. Yeah, that's me.
Amazing.
This is on X. Yeah. So this
Amazing.
is this picture over here on the left side is a body laying down, and they take the nose, zoom in on it, and they flip it sideways, and see he's got a little hook on his nose. And here's the Epstein guy, and he's got a nice rounded nose. So these two noses are not the same. Those two things are not alike.
The nose knows that's a fakery.
Right.
So we know that picture's fake. So now we could do legitimate conspiracy type speculation. Way, or did the bad guys get him, or maybe the good guys made a bigger deal with him? And unfortunately, as Robert David Steele has, there's going to have to be some reconciliation. So they may have given him something that said, "Hey, if you're our key witness to all penalty, or maybe you'll get something else." You know what I mean? And unfortunately, they are negotiating. Maybe it is to protect somebody he loves. Who knows what it could be, or your financial legacy will go to somebody else you care about. But there's some negotiations in there, in my opinion. And with the reconciliation that I think the White Hats are going to have to make with the bad guys, I think it's reasonable to assume, especially after seeing that picture, that he was taken off the playing field for a reason.
Yeah, 100%. And I believe my viewpoint, unpopular as it might be, that it was Ghislaine Maxwell and her dad that kind of lured Epstein into this situation, right? Mm-hmm. I think he was in the beginning not as evil as everybody thinks him out to be, but he was drawn into something because of the connections of these these Mossad people. So I that's my personal opinion only. This gut check, spirit discernment that he was. He's a really crazy, billionaire, wacky dude. He wanted to have his DNA and throughout the whole world, and all this weird cultish type of mentality, billionaire mentality. And then I believe he was drawn into the thing through Ghislaine Maxwell, that she was the one. So if he made a deal to save his own neck, literally and figuratively, that's probably what's happened. So I'm excited to see how this all develops. Because regardless, I mean, the Epstein list comes out, but then still, where's the accountability? These are names that we have known have been on this list and been in this situation for a very long time. And so this disclosure in this list is more for the normies, exactly. To bring that out into the more mainstream talk. So yeah, that's what I think.
So the deep state cabal, their MO is, and so everybody understands how they work. Epstein could have been a decent guy or I say people are kind of born good, evil, and neutral, right? And a lot more good and a lot more neutral than there are evil. But what happens with the neutrals, I believe that the deep state, everybody they work with, we have to know, they compromise them also. So everybody that the deep state, you may think somebody's at the head, they're not. They're compromised. They put them in some position with something on them. So what could have happened with Epstein, which has happened to a lot of actors and entertainers, so on and so forth, they said, here's the deal. You either go this way, that we need you to go, right? Or this, and this, or you just disappear off the map and we never hear from you again. Just go about your life, but you're not going to have the riches. You're not going to have this. And that's after they already compromised them. So what happens is an Epstein has to make a choice, or somebody in his case would have to make a choice. And some of them, unfortunately, they say, well, if I'm already going to hell, I might as well go all in and just be as debaucherous I can in this lifetime. That's a lot of them make that choice. I'd say you'd see a lot of these entertainers that a lot of times they're entertainers because they're very narcissistic anyways, right? So they'll make that choice. Some of them maybe like a what's her name, Jennifer Hudson, where her I believe it was my tower until you emotionally heal, we're going to be able to support you. She probably opted not to take the deal, and therefore they went after like that. And then the other people just disappear. They become what society would call a nobody. I don't know. That's just my thought process, so people understand. What do you think?
I've been saying that all along to Cristin, the same thing. I feel that same exact way with what's going on out there, and how people get compromised or get to that point of having to make that decision. I mean, when you're faced with, hey, we'll give you a couple of $100,000, but we need this, this, and this. And by the way, if you don't take it, we're just going to come in and take out everybody in your family. So you get to decide what you want to do. And it'd be a bad situation to have to be in, but bending the knee, unfortunately, is what a lot of people do.
They do. Because the other thing is the construct that we've been raised under for the last few hundred years is not one of courage. It's one of cowardice. And that's why the soy boy mentality is a real thing, and the beta male is a real thing, because it is absolute cowardice. So they look at the path of least resistance in their mind, right? And says, and all things that make you grow are sometimes the harder choice. Mostly, you have to be uncomfortable in order to be comfortable. And unfortunately, I think they just take the easy way out because they're cowards anyways. I wouldn't bend a knee. I wouldn't capitulate, and my family knows it. And the benefit is, I think my family's probably a less target than others. I'm probably more of the target than my family. And the reason why is because they understand that I'm not going to capitulate to that. In fact, I'm going to fight harder. I'll probably end up using them as a martyr. That's me. Now there's other people though. And the bad thing is I flat out say that you're going to come after my family, I'm coming after you. So the bad thing is my family doesn't like that I talk like that, but I have to be honest. And if we all had that standpoint, you give them no leverage whatsoever.
No,
you have to take away that fear. Like, that's the only way. That there can't be the fear there. And that's why they've been working so hard to demasculate men, is because think of the family. Women are the source of life. They bring all of the life into the world, and that's their role. And what does the man do? The man protects the woman. And if they can demasculate the man and turn him into just this weak, just shell of a person, then who's there then to protect the woman? Who's there to protect the life bringers? So it's this whole, like you said, they've been working on this for hundreds of years. And it's as infuriating as it is, it's almost impressive that they've gotten as far as they have. And we've been as programmed and conditioned as we've gotten. But yeah, it really comes down to not bending the knee and not letting that fear take over and making decisions based on fear, because that's the only thing that we actually have. We give in, they get it all.
Absolutely. 100% agree. So to change subjects a little bit, there's a lot of weirdness that I've noticed after I met you guys, so it's all your fault. In the pet industry. And when it comes to it, I don't think it's even conjecture anymore that they're intentionally poisoning our pets. Is that too far of a leap to say that it's intentional and it's not just about money, it's about making them sick?
No, that's not too far of a leap at all. And it might not have started that way, decades ago, when they were making these little compromise ingredients for fillers and synthetic things to make an extra buck here and an extra buck there. But, you compound all those compromises over decades, and it turns into what we have today, which is very similar to what's happening with people. It's the same thing. The food is poisoned, the water is poisoned, the air that's being breathed is poisoned. Everything that we're cleaning with, everything that's touching the skin or going into the body is now toxic. And for the reason they're doing it to humans is a different reason, right? Like if you keep the prisoners too weak to climb the walls, then you can maintain control. So for people, it's just about keeping us too weak to climb the walls. But for animals, it's a whole different moneymaker for them, because when you lose a pet to something, what do?
Yeah,
You go get another one.
That's right. Oh, yeah, good point.
And another one. They're replaceable. So why are our pets living 50% less? The average golden retriever, Kurt always says, the average golden retriever in 1970 was 17 years old. Today it's 9. Why do more?
So it's almost half.
More. Why
That's so
do
disgusting.
think about your own pets? 20, 30 years ago, they weren't getting heart and diabetes. They didn't have autoimmune diseases. I mean, 30 years ago, we weren't dealing with all of this and medicating them. Our pets didn't have anxiety. Seriously. How does a pet have anxiety? Where does that come from? They have no bills to pay. Nothing to think about, right? Where is this anxiety coming from? And so it's the foods, it's a lot of the injections that we're told they have to get, it's the water, it's the air. And what they want to do is make us dependent on medications for them to stay alive so that they can continue to make more money. And it's just this never ending cycle that we're stuck in. So they give them all the stuff that makes them sick, and then they sell it. They sell us all the stuff that makes them sick in the first place. And then they sell us all the stuff that's supposed to cure them at the same time. And we just keep doing it over and over and over, pet after pet after pet. It really is a racket that they have going on. And that's why when I was talking earlier on the broadcast about we have to use what we have right now, guys. Like anything good that you have in your hands, God's telling us right now, we got to use that to push back and fight back, because it will never, ever end unless we do something different and we change it. And they are intentionally doing this. And again, might not have started that way, but that's what it's turned into today.
Our dog Bear, he started just about 3 weeks ago getting redness around his eyes. His ears were red, and now we have him on the products that we have him on through Pet Club. Phenomenal, and just keeping allergies away and all kinds of issues away. And so this starts happening. He starts itching. He starts scabbing up around his eyes, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And through some of the things I've been listening to, I had heard recently that 42 states, they're saying their water is being played with. And I thought, what if I'm going to take him off just our normal water that we give him,
which is filtered,
our tap, it's filtered, everything else, and I'm going to start just giving him, good water,
spring water.
And it's amazing within days how quickly he turned around.
Wow, really?
What's going on there? But I'll tell you what, that tells me something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real interesting.
It's double filtered water, and his body still had that reaction. Switched into the natural spring water, days gone.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah. And one of the things that kind of blew my mind is, as I've known, several years ago, it really blew my mind that, the FDA, right? The agency we're supposed to trust, that's looking out for us consumers, the things that they allow and the stuff that we consume as humans, many of those ingredients are banned and illegal in other countries. The GMOs, the colors, the dyes, the preservatives, the chemicals, all the other stuff, the fake stuff, the synthetics, the fillers, all this stuff. Many countries, though, you can't do that in other countries. And then, here in the United States, and it's they allow it. It's okay. They say it's the gas. They're gaslighting us because it's GAS. The stuff that they say it's generally accepted as safe, but that's just not the reality. And when I got connected with you guys, I didn't know that all these different pet food companies were only made. There's 3 companies, right, that essentially make all the pet food stuff. And what are those companies?
They're Mars, Smuckers, and Nestle. And what are all 3 of those companies?
Right, they're candy companies.
Candy
Right?
companies.
That's what you think, yeah.
They manufacture 90% of the products that we buy, the foods, treats, toys that we buy for our pets are manufactured by candy companies. Why is there sugar in anything that we're giving our pets? They don't care. They don't even prefer the sweet flavor profile. It has nothing to do with flavor profile. It has nothing to do with nutrition. It has everything to do with sugar is as addictive as heroin, but just doesn't have the side effects that heroin has, which is why it's legal. But you put it in their food, and what do? They eat it, they get dependent on it, they get these spikes of energy, then they crash. And then what do? They go to us and beg us for more. So now they're eating twice as much as what they actually need, not because their body needs it as fuel, but because they have this chemical dependency and this brain imbalance now that's been created by this synthetic thing that's been put in their food just to make them addicted. So what do we, the consumers, do? We go buy twice as much as what they actually need. So we're spending twice as much money on something that's actually hurting them and creating all of this chaos inside of their body.
And oh, by the way, 6 million new cases of diabetes in our pets every single year.
Just in the United States.
And guess what they give them? Human insulin.
Wow.
All right. So let me throw something at you then, because I've been doing a lot of studying lately. Every time, I did it today, every time I'm in the store, I go to the pet food section and I start reading the ingredients. Let me tell you a common ingredient I'm seeing all over the place. So I decided to look into it, and I'm going to pronounce it right. It's called carrageenan. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing carrageenan in 90% of the labels that I read. Now, does it matter? Well, maybe people would say it wouldn't. Let me tell you the dangers and the side effects of carrageenan. Inflammation, bloating, irritable bowel syndrome, colon cancer, and food allergies, inflammatory bowel disease, arthritis, which we see a lot in the dogs nowadays, tendinitis, chronic cholecystitis, cholecystitis, or gallbladder inflammation. And why do they use this supposedly? It just helps, it replaces gelatin, and it helps thicken whatever product is.
Yeah. It's insanity. It's actual insanity. That's just one of, look at your bag of dog food. There's like 50 different ingredients on the back of it, and that's just one of them. I challenge people all the time, like even your own human food, I don't care what you're eating, look up the ingredients, look up what they actually are, and it will tell you a lot about what's going on and why we're experiencing what we're experiencing.
Yeah. Well, and I would say, guys, so Cristin and Kurt turned us on to Pet Club 24/7, and it's phenomenal. And guys, there's going to be links below if you want to get their products, because the healing, and we'll talk about those also, but we have a lot of other things to cover. But what I will say is, if you decide not to get this great pet food and supplements for your pets, at least read your labels, guys. And please, if it says carrageenan on there, you're literally poisoning your pet. So if there's carrageenan or sugar on it, you just have to stop. And I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do, but I kind of am at the same time. This is poison, and it's disgusting. And we have the worst regulations in the world for people food, right? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine what those regulations are for pet food? They're non-existent. And so people have to understand it. You cannot trust these companies that are trying to feed your animals. You cannot do it.
And even one step further, there's another ingredient that people are beginning to wake up to, thank God, but byproducts. If you have anything that says animal byproducts, I recommend just getting rid of it and getting something else, because it's so loosely regulated that animal byproducts can include euthanized animals, animals that are too sick for human pet food manufacturers at a discount. And they call it, that's how they get the protein in the food, in the analysis of the food. It's just bizarre, man. And it makes me sick to think that they've been getting away with this for as long as they have. But thankfully, because of you guys and shows like this and people that are waking up and just being a voice for those that don't have one and speaking out against all of this, we can turn the tide. Like, we can change the way that people and their pets and stuff are being treated. But it starts with exactly what you said, Lewis, is just paying attention, just looking at it, paying attention, asking questions. And what you decide to do, whether you try our products or not, is irrelevant. At least educate yourself and know what you're doing, like know what's happening, so that you can well-informed people make better decisions. We know that. So
yeah, it's sad. The fact that they can even authorize roadkill. I mean,
I know.
the only people I think
it's not authorized. They don't have to tell anyone.
It's just,
That's
I mean, the fact that they're allowed to do it, it's just,
they don't have
blows
to
me away.
report it. There's no accountability. It's not tested.
Euthanized animals,
Yeah.
right back into the food,
Mm-hmm.
finding collars.
Pieces
and
of collars, because they didn't even take the collar off before they
Wow.
grind it. They're finding fur, hair, pieces, fragments of metal from the tags. It's unbelievable.
It's a lot of money in the pet industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Very sick.
So guys, the link is going to be below. We're going to go into this a little bit more, but we want to cover some other subjects also. The link will be below in the description. And why do I say that? Because we're running on multiple channels right now. And I want you to be able to support Bruce or support Robert, whose ever channel that you're on, because they do get a commission off of this, as do I.
It's crazy.
Wow.
That's really
I know Robert has phenomenal story with his cat. I don't know if he's told you about it. It's absolutely adorable. But Robert, tell him about that, and then just mention the one product that your cat is just so in love with.
It's kind of a great story. Our cat was in a situation where we thought it was end of life, 13, 14 years old, and he stopped eating. Ironically, a weekend that Lewis and his wife came down to visit, he had stopped eating completely, stopped eating, stopped drinking. He wasn't interested in anything. And then he started eating again a little bit, started drinking a little bit. And then I had ordered the stuff from you guys, and finally it got in. And first day, didn't have any interest in it. And then I found the trick was to mix it in with his existing food. And the super sauce was something he's just can't feel them anymore. Completely gone. Blown away. This cat is like a kitten, jumps up on the bed. He wasn't doing that. He was just flopping on the floor. He wouldn't do anything. He's just like completely renewed. I don't know. Maybe his 9 lives, maybe he got all 7 plus back. I don't know. He's doing really, really well. So very impressed by it.
It's amazing what your immune system is capable of.
Yeah.
And we hear these types of testimonials. In fact, when you said that, I wanted to bring one up. It's it's 30 seconds long, but here's a one that a lady called into and shared with us, and it's just amazing.
You told me to get super sauce for my kitty. She is 17. It's almost completely gone. And I've been giving her that super sauce all the time, like twice a day. I doubled the amount, like you said. And I am just so beyond happy. Thank you so much. I love you. Like, thank you for telling me to get this.
Wow.
And it goes
You told me to get super
comes
sauce
back
for
to
my-
everything that we were talking about earlier. It's immune support. Like, the body is fully equipped. Your pet's body, our bodies are fully equipped to be able to handle this. So no matter what these psychos throw at us or put in our water or put on our skin, no matter what they throw at us or throw at our pets, if we're supporting that immune system, it keeps us strong. And that's really then when we can actually push back, is when we have the strength and we have the fortitude and the endurance and the stamina now to be able to walk forward and really do something about it. But it almost seems like it's miraculous what's happening. But then we remind ourselves, like, this shouldn't be a miracle. This is just the way things were designed. It's only within the last couple hundred years that they've been doing all of this to us and putting us in this situation in the first place, that we're having to rediscover all the natural, abundant things that God has already given us. that feed the body and help it function the way that it was designed to function. This shouldn't be shocking and miraculous for us. This should just be the way that it is. But we've been so compromised, and they've really thrown everything at us that it's gotten to this point where it's not even recognizable anymore what's happening in the body, and it needs to go back to its original DNA blueprint structure.
Yep.
The type of sickness, these things, the same things we're seeing in the pets.
We all know why.
It just, every single person we talk to, their pet has something wrong with them. It's amazing. It's shocking. It's just not right, period. I can tell you, this is my own observation, but here's a test that you might be able to do on your own at home to see if your water, something might be wrong with it. We have 2 teenage boys, and teenage boys, they go to the restroom, they don't flush the toilet. And so I'd go in there and I would notice that I'm sorry to say, I hope I could say this, but I noticed that their urine would separate from the water, and we'd be down in the bottom. Now, I know you guys know this, from all of us know this, that normally that doesn't happen. It doesn't separate. And so I thought, I hope there's not something wrong with them. And so, of course, I tried it, and I waited several hours, and sure enough, it separated. Now, tell me that's not something odd.
Yeah, something's weird.
That's going on. That's just not normal. I've never seen that in all the years I've been around.
Yeah. So that means our kidneys are getting rid of it, saying, "Get out of here. We don't want this in our body," and then that's the effect. Well, speaking of DNA and sick things and monsters, Bruce, what's going on with Oprah Winfrey?
Well, it's been just crazy on X. It's my new fun thing since my account was reestablished or reconstituted. There's been it was trending on X. Oprah, or not Oprah, actually was trending on there. So recently, there was these Golden Globe Awards. So one of these crazy satanic shows where these narcissists get together and slap each other on the back.
So
but anyway, she was there, and it was pretty eye-opening. I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm trying to pull it up here. But she does not look anything like she did in the past, and many people are just calling it out on X. So I'm going to quickly share the screen. There's just a short little video of her, like that people use for diabetes and helps you lose weight. But just looking at her face, and that's just one of the short videos. Also, there was she was escorted out of those after the awards were over. She was walking down the red carpet or whatever by a and here's a side by side of the real Oprah and the new Nopra.
What?
I mean, the nose looks different and all that other stuff, right?
Come on, man.
But then people started looking. Look at this Diamond from Diamond and Silk. They're saying that Diamond is playing Oprah. And if you look at the hair on the side, she wore her hair on the side. Not that means anything, but even if you look at that video, there's some of the mannerisms. If you watched, anybody who watched Diamond and Silk and their show, some of the mannerisms, like her head cock right there, just a little thing, it looks, I don't know. You can make up your own mind, but I don't think that's the real Oprah.
Wow. Yeah.
So we've got Jeff Epstein's nose. Now we got Oprah. And I wish there he is. Lewis has got the conspiracy. That's what we need to bring.
You're going to talk about things like this, Bruce. I must put on the hat.
Right here's the video of her being walking down with those are U.S. Marshals. Let me back it up here. So this is a U.S. Marshal.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't even look like that.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Yeah, hold up. Wait a minute.
Somebody right.
So, I mean, there was a couple of years ago, Oprah was doing an interview with, what's his name? Kate and the royal guy, the ginger. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
the royal prince, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
She was doing an interview, and she was wearing but she could tell she had an ankle bracelet on. She had one of those, tracker bracelets on her foot. I gotta find the video. It's got to be out there somewhere. I remember seeing it a couple years ago that she was doing an interview and she had one of those ankle bracelets on. So, there's some crazy stuff out there, man. They say it's a movie and there's different things now. I mean, a lot of stuff has happened here in 2024 that makes you go,
Mm-hmm.
And she's part of the club too. Remember when she hurt her ankle and was wearing that boot, that all the celebrities all at the same time suddenly all hurt their ankles and they're all walking around with the boot on, all in the same period of time?
I gotta get my hat out too now.
What a coincidence.
It's all a coinky dink, isn't it? No.
And she was, part of the people that, had some type of thing with Maui, right? The Lahaina fires.
Yes,
and she's out there trying to buy stuff and doing whatever. There's some shady shit going on that she's been involved in, and there's also connections with Epstein that she's been a facilitator. She's had real super close relationship with what's the guy Weinstein, the other pedo that's doing all kinds of stuff. So who knows what the truth is? But the fact that she's escorted by these marshals is pretty wild.
Yeah, I think it's telling, and if anybody knows Bruce, myself, and Robert, it takes us longer than a lot of podcasters to jump down that conspiracy rabbit hole because we like to do as much investigation as possible, release the information that needs to be more pragmatic. But this is blatantly a different person. So regardless whether we think it's Diamond or not, that is not Oprah Winfrey. And it's just, that's crazy. And the fact, Bruce, you pointed out, I think the most compelling thing is Oprah Winfrey wouldn't have U.S. Marshals unless it is Oprah Winfrey and she's in custody. Therefore, that would be the only reason why. But if she did have a double playing her part of this movie, then she would have doubles. I mean, then she would have U.S. Marshals. So, Bruce, that was very compelling that you found that because it makes this whole craziness seem. It actually just makes me feel good. I'm like, cool, all right. This is. I mean, that is wacky. That one is wacky.
There's a lot of garbage out there, and X. I mean, I swear, it has to be part of a white hat operation. The way the things that I'm finding on X now that I've been digging back into it, the different things that the people that are posting and that they're getting allowing to be posted that year or two ago wouldn't. I was listening to Spaces on there. It's a pretty cool thing that different people can talk and share things. But I highly recommend getting in if you're not or have been off. Get back in and see what's going on. Be a part of the thing because X or formerly known as Twitter has been hugely impactful or a key component of waking up a lot of the normies because that's where the Twitter files were broke. About the Twitter files broke about the censorship stuff. These different Twitter files. The Matt Taibbi. Or Tablet, I don't know how to say his last name. These things are rolling out here, and then a lot of the the Gen Xers or the younger types that are on X are seeing this stuff for the first time. So and even the Epstein list, the last since the Epstein list came out, it's just been blown up all over the place. That's all they're talking about is this Epstein list. So it's a great tool. So I can encourage patriots out there if you got a sour taste in your mouth from something that happened to you in the past, hey, get over it and get back on the battlefield and be able to share some more information out there. And if you want to give me a follow, it's Bruce Poppy 1776 on X. Bruce Poppy, Poppy 1776 on X.
I gotta follow you, Bruce. I don't think I'm following you yet.
I follow Bruce wherever he goes.
We're streaming right now on X, by the way. We are streaming on X. So at Robert Imbriale is where I'm at. And
IX.
Yeah.
Aaron
Robert Imbriale.
Yep. So I concur, Bruce. It is fantastic. In fact, anytime I need to fill news or something like that we're doing, That's where I start. I always start on X now because there's so much good content there. And it is so far ahead of the news. It's interesting because we will find stories, Lewis and I will find stories there that we will talk about on the news that will show up a day or two later, like Gateway Pundit or Citizen Free Press or something like that. We're that far ahead. It's really great.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the case. And you can do the trending stuff. I mean, there's all kinds the trending things. Like right now, what's trending? South Africa, Rand Paul, Poland, Jelly Roll, Disease X. I mean, these are some of the things you can go and look into these topics, and people are posting, and that's what seems to be trending. So you can see what's going on, what people are talking about. And again, just like everything else, any social media, there's a lot of bullshit on there as well. So you gotta be able to have some discernment and be able to weed through and say, oh yeah, that's fake, phony, and false. But that's the thing too. And nowadays with the people are getting really good at photoshopping and these deep fakes and AI different things. I don't know who was it. I don't know if it was the Benjamin Franklin quote or who said it, but somebody had said in the past, you believe nothing that you hear and only half of what you see. So it's crazy out there. This is the fun part of this, is trying to decipher and read the tea leaves and seeing what's going on. It's an exciting time to be alive.
It's going to get crazier. I mean, what are they saying? That AI is about 6 years behind its human intelligence. And once it reaches human intelligence, within 5 years, it's going to be 1 billion times smarter than humans.
It's exponential for sure.
Okay, great. Let's go into this. And what's the definition of smart? Because the definition of smart that the cabal would like to have us believe that it's your level of education and your IQ test. But it really appears that the definition of smart is who has the most discernment. So if you have more discernment and you have more common sense, right, and you can act without fear and anxiety, is that not smarter than educated? Is application not better than education? These are the type of things I think the conversations were going in that direction. I believe it's going to change things up dramatically because smart, as you say, Kurt, that's a construct of the cabal. And I'm glad you brought up the AI, and AI is going to be, what would you say, like 5,000 times smarter than we are?
Yeah, we were listening to a CEO of a company, and he had just spoke on Google's forum to their executives, and that's what they were talking about. Was that very thing.
Yeah. So let's go with their narrative. So I had a conversation with Juan Saban about 4 years ago, and he explained to me, he goes, Lewis, you have to understand that both sides, the good guys and bad guys, are using a computer that is what we would call better than a quantum computer. He says they have that technology. So they run millions of scenarios in a second to determine what they're going to do. So my biggest concern with that was, okay, so does that mean the white hats and the black hats are taking discernment out of the equation? Are we literally making all our decisions based on, that would be an AI, right? Based on artificial intelligence. And how scary is that? Because if that's not the biggest separation from God, I don't know what is. And that's one of my biggest issues. And we'll see if he wants to answer that one day, is a godly person believes that that's the way to go. I don't think so. Now, if they're using something crazy, I mean, crazy as this, if they're using something like a Project Looking Glass, where they actually can see the future, then I understand making decisions in order to get you in that direction, because the future is going to change based on the timeline that you're viewing. So that's outrageous. I know, tinfoil hat moment, but that I can understand. But if you're just flat out having a computer tell you what scenarios are and determine it for you, I'm not liking it, because that pulls us away from God. In my opinion, that doesn't pull us towards him.
Well, I can take it one step further, Lewis. The PCR test based on same thing, right? So that's AI. They've used it in that respect. It's crazy. It's over the top.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a beat. I was typing. Interesting. So I've had my wife and I and our family have some phenomenal results with using Pet Club 24/7. And to give you an example, we've got a German Shepherd that we were considering putting him down about a year ago, and we put him on just the food and the super sauce and the mushrooms, and now he's still old. He's 17, which is way past where he's supposed to be, but he kind of bounces around, and he's very, very, very happy and very inquisitive on everything, where he would just lay down before. So that was completely exciting. And then we have our dog Cooper on the side that's now down to about half the size, and he's about 10 years old. He's a husky. But here's what's interesting about him. Even though he's a husky, he's always been just so mellow, never would come up to us and everything. For the last 3 months, he is literally, this is no exaggeration, literally, when we come in, he's jumping on his hind legs, 2 legs, up and down, trying to get our attention, and he wants to be pet. He never wanted to be pet before. He wants to be loved. He wants to be involved. The only thing we changed is his diet. So, I mean, I think it's phenomenal. And I would go, is that the food? Is that the mush puppies, or I use ponies, but what do you think about that?
It's a combination of both. And a lot of times they're just like people. Their temperament and their mood a lot of times is based off of how they feel. And how do we respond, or how do we act when we don't feel well? We're irritable, we're withdrawn, we don't want to participate, we just want to lay, might even be feisty, or, snap back at people that we care about. And so our animals are no different, but they are unable to tell us how they're feeling. They can't tell us I have a headache, or my stomach hurts, or, there's pain in my, like, they can't tell us those different things. Like that we're able to express. So a lot of times when you get them away from the things that are causing a lot of those problems, and that a lot of that discomfort and pain, like the foods, but at the same time you couple that with nutrition like mushroom, a whole food like mushroom that feeds the immune system, so the immune system can then go in and course correct anything that's happening inside of the body and work optimally. All of a sudden now they're feeling better. And then their true personality and their true temperament can come out, because they don't feel bad anymore. So they are more cuddly, they're more loving, they want to follow you around, they want to spend more time with you, they want to be a part of everything that's happening. We see that a lot. And most of it is just, again, based off of how they feel. And if you don't want to change the food, or if you don't want to change like their primary source of nutrition, at least get the something like the mushroom into their system as quickly as possible, so that their bodies can then fight back against whatever's happening inside of there that's causing it. But if you really want to accelerate it, then you could also transition the food at the same time, and it will only accelerate their progress, because now instead of, okay, I'm eating this whole food that's helping restore my body, but then at the same time I'm eating all these toxins that now my body has to detox and push out and rid my body of, and this is constant battle happening inside of the system. Whereas if you just eliminate the thing that's causing the toxic reaction anyway, and then also add the immune support, then boom, it's a completely different animal. And we see it with animals, we see it with people, like even lab work. We've people with lab work from their pets, and a month later, 2 months later, the lab work's completely different. It looks like it's from a completely different animal. We see that all the time, because that's how powerful the immune system is.
Mm-hmm.
We constantly are getting people, that have an elderly animal, and they're just getting on the product to be proactive versus reactive, but they're calling and saying our dogs running up and down the stairs again, jumping in our favorite chair, digging holes in the backyard. And it makes sense, because the ancient Egyptians called this mushroom the mushroom of longevity, and the ancient Chinese called it the mushroom of youth. And it really shows you in your elderly pets, it's like giving them years back. They're doing things they were doing years before. And we as humans notice that same thing. You know,
It's like 23.
It's amazing. It's got 400 clinical studies on it. It doesn't interact with any medications. You can't overdose on it. You can't give too much to your pets. It's just you know, like eating a mushroom on a pizza. It's phenomenal. We just happen to have the most potent strain that you can get anywhere, and we have a proprietary way that we extract it at what is called the mycelia stage, which is the stage 1 of the growth of the mushroom, which makes the efficacy even more potent. And this is why we're constantly seeing so many great testimonials.
Now, you also have human testimonials, and which I think you guys have found a loophole. I'm sure I don't know if you would have a problem if I said the C word or not, but the big health C word, the C word, which is another construct of the cabal. By the way, they've created the C word through our nutrition and environment. It's not hereditary, guys. That's the BS word. But the C word is very interesting. But you found, if you guys go to the links below and you go to it, you're going to notice something, even though it's called Pet Club. In the upper right hand corner, there's a link that says humans.
Mm-hmm.
And why humans?
Well, the company initially started out and bringing this into the U.S. And the reason that happened is one of our partners, the founder of the company, he had a mother that was dealing with a major issue. She was attending Sloan Kettering, and there was nothing more that they could do for that issue. He was informing family what was happening, and he had a family member out of Japan that said, "Listen, I'm going to send something over to you. Have her take this. Let's see what happens." And she does, and notices a big difference after about a month. Month 2, feeling much better. Month 3, felt like nothing was wrong. After 4.5 months, she goes back. They run labs to do everything on her, and they were blown away because there was no issues anymore that they could see. And from there, they were flabbergasted, you know, what were you doing? She explained she was taking a mushroom. And they started studying it. And so that they were one of the first studies. It's been studied again, I'd mentioned earlier, over 400 times. And so for years, because of this scenario happening, they were referring people over to his cousin in Japan to get it. And you may or may not know this, but in Japan right now, if you're dealing with the C word or going through chemotherapy, then this is something they prescribe to every single person there. Now, this isn't the same strain that we have, but that is done there. And they would refer people to it. And just, you know, what these studies concluded was that this is immune support. And if you can keep that immune system healthy, your immune system's capable of altering any type of situation, from smallest of concerns to some of the most catastrophic of concerns. So, you know, if you can get it working right. And so as they were getting it out there, and 6 years ago, they had issues with their pets. 3 of them had lost their pets, and 2 of their children due to disease. And they thought about this and what they were doing and the success it was having with humans. And you know, most mushrooms are not okay for pets, but as they researched this and learned about it, no problem with our pets, our horses, our cats, you name it. It's amazing. It's just phenomenal. And so they started, you know, trying it out with different friends, family. They reached out to us and said, "Hey, we've got a great product that's doing amazing things for animals." And we get our hands on it and we give it to our animals. Our animals were young. They were healthy. We weren't noticing a lot. But 3 days after we received it, one of my good friends posts on social media that he has to put his dog down. The dog that chose him over his wife. We called him. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" He's also a Kurt. And I said, "Well, what's going on?" And he goes, "You know, my dog's had an autoimmune problem for several years. Paw pads it's gotten so bad her paw pads will peel off when she hits the pavement or asphalt." And we dealt with that for about the last year. But he said now she's laying in the corner. Her hair's coming out in clumps. Her eyes are whited. We didn't get them tested. But he goes, she's a husky and she's 14 years old. And he goes, if you know anything about Huskies, they generally only live to be 12. And he goes, so, it's just time. And I said, well, is she still eating? And he goes, she is, but we have to carry her outside. And I said, well, listen, Kurt, would you humor me? I've heard about something amazing. If I bring this over, will you give it to her and let's see what happens? And he goes, absolutely, we'll do anything. We take it over to him.
These little biscuits.
Yeah.
Called mush puppies.
And 4 days later, I get a phone call from him. I see him coming over. I'm like, hey, Kurt. And he goes, what did you give my dog? And I said, whoa, is everything okay? And he goes, Kurt, Zenta just jumped on the couch next to me. And I said, well, that's amazing. He goes, you don't understand. She hasn't done this in a year and a half. He goes, you think it's a mushroom? And I said, Kurt, to be frank with you, you're the first experience that I've had with somebody that's had a dog that is ill. I know many other people that have seen great results. And he goes, well, it has to be. He keeps giving it to her. And every day that goes by, he starts seeing a major improvement. She's going out to the restroom on her own. 30 days goes by, the white in the eyes, the crystallization's gone. She's seeing better. The hair's not coming out in clumps. Wow. The paw pads were no problems any longer, and within we're gone. And Zenta passed away. It's been about a year ago now, but she lived to be the age of 19 and a half.
Yeah, another 4.5 years.
And so the long and short of that question, Louis, what is this, is that we started seeing my brother, another example, we'd send it out to him. 10 days later, he called and he goes, Batman is running up and down the stairs, jumping in his favorite chair. He hasn't done that in 4 years. He was a little dachshund. And we started getting it out, and all these testimonials started pouring in. And people started saying, hey, look, we're giving our pets these products. They don't know. They're just eating something different.
They don't know what a placebo
They don't know what a
is.
placebo effect is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how do we
no
get this
clue.
for ourselves? They knew that it could do something for them. And so the company always wanted to be pet-centric, but at that point they knew it was time to bring it in. And, a lot of people say, well, how much do we give? And really the amount to know is that if you're a human that you just want to stay healthy, 1 for every 50 pounds seems to be the right amount. If you're having an issue of some type, maybe you've got a cold or you're sick or whatever, double it up. And when people are dealing with more severe issues, then, it seems to be a good number is about 10 a day. And do that until that improvement. If they have blood work, that's the best because they can see the actual differences that are going on. And with our pets, it's really the same type of situation. All of the products on the back will tell you exactly how much to give.
Yeah. We always joke around that when Pet Club 24/7 started, that all of our products were tested on humans first.
I love it.
Okay, it's safe for the humans. It'll be safe for the animals.
I love it. I love it. Hey, before we go, Bruce or Robert, do you have anything else you want to add, or a question or a new topic?
Well, I had a quick testimony as well. We have a Chug Chihuahua Pug mix, going to be 16 this coming next month. And she was, we were traveling on the Truth Tour. We had shared custody with our kids. The kids would keep the dog while we were traveling. And they got to the point where like, we don't know we want to keep her because we don't want to be responsible that morning. That's how bad, she was just lethargic. She had the crystallization. The eyes were just glazed over. And so we got on the stuff. And within 10 days, probably maybe less, 7 to 10 days, the glaze on her eyes was gone. We also have a 1-year-old Applehead Chihuahua and so now she's starting to playing with the other, the little dog and jumping around. She's still overweight, and we talked about all the sugar. That's a lot of these dogs that become obese, and that's another problem here in the United States. We're an obese nation. It's because we're all freaking sugar junkies, right? We're all addicted to that stuff, and the same thing happens with the pets. So, once they get over that withdrawal from the sugar that's in the food and different things, it's a remarkable stuff. And I was taking the pills. I had surgery about a month ago, a little less than a month ago, for having my pacemaker removed and changed out. Here's the old one. That was inside my body, was allegedly keeping me alive. But I was on to start taking doubled up on the mushroom, the pill for people, and then also the wellness cream. I was taking the wellness cream. There's a cream, it's a CBD based cream, and so I was putting that on my scar. And it was honestly less than a week, 7 days, the incision was healed up, and it looks amazing. I mean, that's the scar, and it's less than a month, and the swelling, everything is already down. And
Bruce, we need to stay at a PG rating, just so you know.
Well, I didn't show my nipple, so we're good.
Thank God.
So yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm a testimony. My dog's a testimony.
Yeah,
you got to check this stuff out. Don't believe us. Go to the links that are in the description for each of our sites, and there's tons of research. There's tons of videos. There's tons of information. Just go check it out. Try it. Can't hurt, right?
So what you're saying is that with your testimonials, it just doesn't work on dogs only. It also works on rats, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. It's fantastic. I mean,
I have dogs, Bruce.
I know. And I'm a rat. I know.
No, not you. You're just your little chugs.
Oh.
And the chihuahua.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the ankle biters. Yeah, right.
The ankle biters. They're awesome. Wow. Robert, do you have anything you want to add to this fun conversation?
Oh, it's so much fun. I've been playing in the chat room too, and people are telling me their pet stories, and they're really having a lot of success. And one lady telling me about her cat, her fur now is like silk after a couple of weeks on this is awesome. I just love to hear these stories. So yeah, this is a real breakthrough. This is something that's very different. We've heard a lot about the pet food and what's in it, and clearly, you look at the pets getting the same diseases as you, thinking, wait a minute, animals in the wild don't get this. This is not normal. So obviously, we know it's the foods, the water, that kind of thing. And, you give them better nutrition, you give them what they need, their body knows what to do. Your body knows how to heal. It just needs the building blocks, the tools to be able to do that. And when you bring those to the forefront and give it to the animals, or give it to yourself even, you heal. And the results are quick. It's not even like months and months and months. And maybe I saw something, maybe it's a little different. So very, very, very impressed by the products.
Yep. Awesome.
Yep.
So Kurt and Cristin, before we fade out here, anything else you want to add to this conversation?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to thank you guys for putting this together, and just for caring about people and caring about our country, and just for caring and actually doing something about it. I just appreciate you so much, and we respect you all so much, and we're incredibly grateful to even be able to have this conversation with you. It's been such a great time. So thank you for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Yep, it's been our pleasure for sure. Folks, just go to the links below. I know. What's your link, Robert? What's the name of it?
renegademedia.tv/pets.
Okay. And Bruce, your link is?
healthyswitch.petclub247.com.
Cool. And the intelligent one in the room has a very short one. It's sbgpets.com. sbgpets.com. Guys, it's been wonderful having you folks here. You guys check out their website. I can tell you there's a lot more on there than we talked about here, because mainly we just want to have a great conversation on other topics. But our pets are getting great results. If you can get great results too, ultimately, as you know, we've talked about this many times. We've had hundreds of products come across our table, and I think Robert, we only promote 3.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
3.
Yep.
Hundreds. By the way, we could have made millions. We decided not to, because all we cared about is if we're going to introduce it, it darn well better make a difference in your life. So you guys can take that to the bank. Love you. God bless everybody. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Cristin, Robert, Bruce. What a great show. I appreciate it. And hey, somebody just donated too. Pray for Trump. Thank you very much for your donation. That was very special of you on Rumble.
And Bruce and I will be back tomorrow with a show, so unravel some more news.
Bruce and you'll be back?
Yeah.
I will.
That's right, guys.
We'll be back. It's Friday. You know what Friday is? It's the best day of the week for doing news.
I'm telling you guys, they get the best ratings too.
Yep.
In fact, I should just take the whole week off and just wait for Friday. They do great. All right, guys. Love you. Take care, everybody.
Good night, everyone.